Hello, welcome back to the JC Pod. I'm your host, Jaden Chandler Parnell, JCP or JC. Major NFL news that's about to be upcoming. I'll break it down in a second, but before we get started, quick shout out to Rahm, who won the Masters this weekend. Very impressive by him. Phil Mickelson almost backdoored it with a great Sunday round, but Rahm able to finish Sunday strong, and he is the champion of the Masters. Got his first Masters ever now. And now he has a Masters, and I forget, he has another, I think it's a U.S. Open, I could be wrong, but he has two, he has a Masters now and another major win. And for being as young as he is, it's really awesome for him. But so, congrats to Rahm there. Decent weekend of baseball as well. There's some good games all around. Just a great time in the sports world. But the big news, before we get into there, just real quick, shout out to the Tampa Bay Rays, 10-0 in baseball. They're the first team to be 10-0 since the 1987. I think. I want to see. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I was trying to read. Here we go. Here's the record before the first loss. So the 2023 Rays are 10-0. The 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers, the only team on the list that went to win on the World Series. But here are the teams. It's 1982 Braves 13-0, 1987 Brewers 13-0. The 81 Athletics were 11-0, 55 Dodgers were 10-0, 62 Pirates were 10-0. The 66 Cleveland, I don't know what they would have been in 66, honestly. Maybe still Indians, were 10-0, and then the Rays this year are 10-0. So that also could mean nothing because, this just said, only one of those teams has won the World Series, but really cool. Because shout out to the Rays for starting off the season 10-0. You really don't see that very often in baseball, so pretty cool thing we're going to be a part of. Now, before NFL news today, major NFL news. Most of it happened yesterday. I'll start off with that one. Odell Beckham Jr. signs with the Ravens, which basically means I think Lamar's coming back. I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. signs there unless Lamar's not coming back, so I would say there's an 85 to 90% chance that Lamar's coming back. So, I was going to do a story this Thursday on where's Lamar going to end up. Might not do it now because he's probably going to go back to the Ravens because, I think it's pretty safe to say he's going to end up back as a Raven after they sign OBJ. Huge signing for them. OBJ, I think it's $13 million guaranteed and a signing bonus. No, it's $15 million guaranteed, sorry. 13 in signing bonus, 1 in a salary, and then the rest is incentives. Really good contract for him. Man, that sucks as a Colts fan. I was hoping there'd be a little small chance that, maybe, just maybe, he would come to the Colts. But, I would say probably not now. So now it's for sure for the Colts, probably going to draft a quarterback. And like I said, I think if the Ravens got OBJ, there's a good chance that they're signing into a one-year deal. So they're at least going to get Lamar back on the franchise tag. What happens past that? No idea. But they're at least going to get him back for 1 year. I'm interested to see now what they do moving forward for I guess the next few weeks. I'm curious to see how they're going to sign him, if they're just going to sign the franchise tag, if they're sign a long-term deal. Very interested. Dwayne Haskins' family is filing a lawsuit that said he was drugged in a blackmail conspiracy. So I read a little bit about this, so I'll touch on it briefly, but I don't want to get too far into this because this just came out, so I want to wait for more news to come out. But everyone knows Dwayne Haskins was struck by a dump truck a few years ago. Oh, I guess it just last year, on April 9th of 2022, so just a little over a year ago as of now. Apparently it's from his parents. They said the owner of the truck stumped him, saying he was exceeding the speed limit, had worn tires, and brakes over. Okay, so I just want to make sure again. So basically, what's going from this is they're saying that the truck was horribly inspected, that wasn't inspected, so it wasn't to the right terms, and that he was drugged, so it just led. So basically, I don't know if they're saying somebody did it, but they're just saying somebody. There were a lot of events that led to it that I guess his family are finding are very. Let's just say very suspicious. I definitely get it though. I would be, especially when it comes to the dump truck part. I would get that if it wasn't fully checked and everything, and they wanna. It's just still such a sad situation. So I'm definitely gonna be interested to see what more comes out of that situation because I want to know if they actually have a case or if there's nothing from this. I'm very intrigued to see what happens from this. Cliff Kingsbury is going back to USC as a QB's coach. So his little NFL experiment failed, but he definitely got some money for it. So yeah, he went 4-13 last season. They got rid of him. 35-40 record when he was at Texas Tech from 2013 2018. Excuse me. And then in the NFL, he posted a 500 record in his second season in Arizona. Entering 5-10-1, and then he just and that was a year where they started off like 11-0, kind of tailspun. That might have, I can't remember if that was last year or the year before, but basically the year where they kind of tailspun after starting off the season like 11-0, and then just couldn't finish it off strong. Yeah, just not shocked. I thought he might take a year off, but not surprising to see him go back to the college ranks. But I'm wondering if we'll see him in the NFL again. Basically, how bad it went off. That might be a new record, bro. I dropped my pen 5 minutes into this new episode. 5 minutes in, that might be a new record. I might have to check that up and check the stats. No, but it makes sense. He didn't have the most success in the NFL, obviously. I'm probably not breaking any news saying that, but overall, hopefully going back to college, you know, he can get some of his name back, and not like and just not like, I guess name's not the right word. Credit's probably a better one. Probably get his credit back, you know. I'm not saying he's like not smart or anything, because definitely he's a football mind. He definitely has something there. It's just, yeah, NFL did not seem to work out for him. So hopefully whatever he does, he'll be able to fix it. Speaking of the Cardinals, apparently there's 3 teams that are exploring trying to get to the 3rd pick. I don't think they've announced who. But they will also jump ahead of the Colts, who will get the number 4 pick. So it makes me wonder if Colts are one of those teams that are calling them and curious. This is a very interesting time for the Colts. Very important for them to take advantage of the situation. They need a quarterback. And man, this is so frustrating. I feel like they're just going to wait for somebody to fall in their lap, or they're going to trade back and hope they can get Hendon Hooker like late. I truly don't know. The more I am thinking about, the more I'm scared they're just going to try to wait for Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker gets drafted earlier than they expect. And then all of a sudden they have no quarterback and we're just stuck. But I'm sure they'll get someone. I just don't know who's between me. Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. It's probably going to be one of those two. I've been coming more around on it's probably going to be one of those two. I don't know how to feel, man. I think I talked myself into buying a jersey of the first quarterback that we get to maybe, you know, force myself to enjoy them a little bit more than I probably would, regardless, but we'll see. Commanders settled a lawsuit with DC based on their tickets, so they announced an agreement that returns $200K to the fans and pay $425 in total to the district. So this was the whole issue with I don't know what exactly situation is it from, but there's been a lot of issues with there's been a lot of issues with the Commanders. So I don't know if this is like them saying like, yeah, let's pay him back for like the few years of BS that we've done, or this is for like a specific game or season. That's the part I don't understand. But fans are getting their money back. This was an issue that happened. I want to say within the past like 2 years, especially, is the main reason they're doing this. But I don't know exactly. Could be more on top of it. Carson Palmer came out and he said Burrow's the best quarterback in the NFL. He's more consistent than Mahomes. I just wanted to bring this out there because this is probably going to be the talking point for the next year or two, and for sure probably the next 5 years maybe, depending even if both can stay healthy. If Joe Burrow gets a Super Bowl and win one within the next 2 or 3 years for sure, I think the conversations are I mean, don't get me wrong, I definitely like Joe Burrow and everything, but Patrick Mahomes has 2 rings. I get he's been in the league a little longer and everything, but that was just interesting for him to come out. I'm sure that it just has to do with fundamental-wise. Like, I'm sure I didn't read this fully. I won't even lie to you, but I'm assuming, yeah, he says, I know Patrick is phenomenal, but I think Joe's more consistent. He's more consistent. He's more accountable to run the system and the plays that are called and not feel like, well, he didn't win last time and get open for me, so I'm going to do it with my feet. And then before you know it, you're sacked on a 4-yard loss because you tried to make 2 or 3 guys miss. That felt like a little bit of shot at Mahomes at the end, but yeah, I would say, I mean, he's not wrong. I think Mahomes definitely does get in trouble sometimes where he tries to extend the play, but I also think that's part of the magic that makes him as good as he is. So it's like kind of like a double-edged sword right there, but I definitely get where he's coming from. he's basically saying that I feel like he's saying Burrow's a little bit better the quarterback, and then Mahomes is a little bit better of a player, maybe. That's how I view it, probably. He probably sees Mahomes as like a better player, slightly, but Joe Burrow's a better quarterback. Regardless, I'm not going to defend him. Very interesting take. I have no issues with it. He definitely has some arguments right there. The end part, I think I kind of disagree with a little bit, just because Mahomes making those 2 or 3 extra guys miss is also the reason he's so good. I know in years past he's had like he only has like really Kelsey to throw to, especially like this last year. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not defending him, and I'll probably end this right here with this, but Burrow's throwing to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. And at the time, I think Hayden Hurst was there, maybe not, maybe he just got there. Regardless, I mean, take away the tight end and add in Joe Mixon. He has like he has 3 number 1 receivers and a really good running back for Mahomes, who only had Kelsey, really. He did have Tyreek Hill at one point, so I'm not denying that. Pat, like, if you look at it this year, Juju's not too bad either, but I would definitely take the Bengals receiving core over his. So I'm just, by the way, I'm in no way defending that. I just think it's it was a very interesting thing to say, and yeah, I think it's like very good. I'm just very excited for the NFL in general with the young guys. It makes me so sad because Andrew Luck should be in his prime right now amongst all these young boys, but I'm very excited to see what the AFC does, because AFC's a heavy quarterback-filled league now, so the Cards, I mean, he has the right to say this because, yeah, exactly. Burrow, in his mind, Burrow could be better than Mahomes, but it's awesome because not only we don't have to wait for the Super Bowl to see it. We can see it in the regular season, and we'll probably get to see it like in the playoffs before the Super Bowl, which is really awesome. So apparently the Super Bowl loss played a factor into Kelsey returning for the 13th season, which makes sense. I'm sure if he won, he probably would have gone out on a high note, especially with how long he's played, especially at O-line. I'm sure he's pretty sore and tired. I would not be shocked if they say they won this year if he retired. I'm very interested though, like what would consider enough for him to retire. I'm sure if they make a really good playoff run, maybe that'd be enough, but I don't know how much longer he's going to play. I don't think he has too much longer in him. I would say another 4 to 5 years max, and I don't think he's going to play 5. I would say closer to 2 to 3, but I'll add a little backing because the offensive linemen can play for a little bit longer. I mean, Whitworth played till he's 40, but being a center, that might be a little different. We'll have to see. Apparently, Teddy Bridgewater's received a strong contract from the Lions, but he's also had some other teams draw interest. This is crazy, man. Teddy Bridgewater's been in the league for so long now. He's that, man, he just reminds me of, he reminds me of like kind of a worse version of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Just solely because Ryan Fitzpatrick at least started for most of the places he went to before he ended up as a backup, or he was a backup and became a starter at some point for a few games. Teddy Bridgewater hasn't really started too much in the past few years, but he's just like a solid backup that just keeps bouncing around everywhere. It's funny just that credit to him, because yeah, you got to be pretty good to do that, but it's just funny. He has one of the best paying jobs in the world to be a backup NFL quarterback. The Titans signed Simmons to a 4-year, $94 million extension, which makes sense. He's really good, and they would want to keep him. There's a video that Kyler posted of him squatting 13 weeks post-surgery. Not bad. I mean, awesome to see. Just very interested to see what goes on. Aggravated menacing charge against Mixon has been refiled. We'll see what comes of that. There's been a lot going on within him in the offseason. It makes me think that the Bengals are probably going to move on here soon, especially because of how bad the running back market is. And by bad, I mean money-wise. I mean, they're just literally letting anybody. They aren't paying anybody, and they're pretty much bringing almost anybody in. Like, Dante Foreman had an amazing season last year for the Panthers and only got like $1 million. So I would not be shocked to see them move on from him at this point. The Jets are signing Quentin Jefferson from the Seahawks, which helps just add to their D-line. Last year, the Seahawks released him, which saved them about $4.5 million in cap space, and he had 5.5 sacks last year, and 6 tackles for loss with the Seahawks, and he had 29 tackles in 17 games. So decent play from the D-lineman. They mainly did that depth. Cook said he's not there to compete with Lambs, which makes sense. There's a reason they brought him, and just to help out. Wagner, very excited to reunite with the Seahawks. We talked about it a little bit last week. Still weird that he just went away for a year. That's one of those if he retires as a Seahawks, that's just gonna be one of those things where like you look like back at a player like Kobe Bryant never did this obviously, but I guess maybe Chris Paul. We'll do Chris Paul but he's been on a few teams. This is Chris Paul when he joined the Rockets. Say he finished his career at the Rockets or whatever before he traveled a little bit more. It'd be one of the or no. Sorry, I'm being stupid. It's the best thing. Michael Jordan. You think of Michael Jordan, it's like, man, you don't think about when he played on the Wizards. Like, you know he did it, but it's like, man, that's so weird that he played at the Wizards. But he did that at the end of his career. It's weird just to think in the middle of his career, just for 1 year, Bobby just leaves and then comes back. I mean, if he goes to a different team within the next 2 or 3 years and plays again, then it won't really matter because 3 teams is a little bit, 3 teams makes sense. But usually when you go to like 2 teams, and especially you only play on the other team for like a year or 2 and then go back to your team, it's just always weird. Elway's moving on from the Broncos. I don't think he has any involvement at all anymore, so I don't know what's going to come of that. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Broncos just because it's completely new ownership. I guess they just want full control and everything. So, I mean, he's still going to be a Broncos legend. You still want all the Super Bowls for them and everything. It's just not going to be in the front office helping them out that way. A few days ago, DaCosta said the Ravens were open to drafting a QB, but I don't think they will at this point after the whole OBJ signing. Eckler seeks a long-term partner playing the bold steel worst case scenario. Or playing out the bold steel. This is what he said. When it comes down to what's going on with the whole trade and all that stuff, really, look, we're trying to find a long-term partner. Eckler said that's what we want. We want someone who wants to sign us for a few years and sees us not just as an immediate future, but a couple years out. So basically what it sounds like, he just wants to be on a team that's wanted. But like I said, with how bad the running back market is, he might have to wait. Like, the player junior for the NFL needs to step it up a little bit. I think every position is basically getting paid except for the running backs. The running backs are the one position where it's like almost like a dime a dozen. They're just like, if we don't like him. Like, for example, like, Eckler's been amazing for the Chargers. I guess maybe he's not the best in like 1 or 2 areas, but he scored so many touchdowns. He's been a huge part of the offense. He can catch all the backfield. He does everything that they want from running back, and nobody wants to pay him. Like, I don't know if that tells you something about that or, I don't know, man. That's just very weird. And then, very weird situation, especially when it comes to running backs. So I wonder what's going to happen with Eckler. The ex-Cardinals vice president, McDonough, I don't know how to say his last name. Terry McDonough, I want to say, or something like Madonna. Terry McDonough, something like that. I'm just going to call him Terry so I don't butcher his name. They filed something accusing the owner, Biddle, of cheating and misconduct. Terry claims that he was eventually demoted after he objected to a scheme that would involve the use of so-called burner phones to circumvent the 2018 suspension of then GM Steve Keim, who had been arrested for DUI. He claims that he still has the phone used in the scheme. He worked 10 seasons for the Cardinals front office, including several players and vice presidents. So I don't know what's going on, but there's something going on with the Cardinals. Like the whole organization has been under wraps. From the Pat McAfee show, if you have watched Pat McAfee show, then you're watching my show, and you've watched it for a few years, you just know that they made fun of the Bengals facilities and everything, and you saw those facilities getting upgraded and everything. I'm not going to say it was mainly because of them, obviously, but they helped, obviously, be a part of the noise and made it loud. They're getting pretty loud about how bad the Cardinals facility is and everything. A.Q. Shipley, who's a former player of the Cardinals, who's appeared on the show, has come out and said stuff. And now that this is coming about the owner, there's something going on in that Cardinals building that makes you wonder, yes, Kyler wasn't the best, I would say, compared to other stuff, and he didn't play the best, especially in that playoff game. But is it just him, or is there other stuff going on? Very interesting. Mac Jones is also being shot by the Patriots for apparently going outside the building. That'll be the last one we're going to end off with. Apparently Mac Jones went outside the building for help when the coach wouldn't help answer his questions. So then Bill's just basically shopping him. Patriots, it's really weird to see them like this. I'm used to seeing them as basically being the super villain that is going to ruin my season every year. And now they're just in this weird little limbo phase where they don't know who they are. I don't know if they're the most confident in their quarterback anymore. I don't know if they're the most confident in themselves. There's a little bit of weirdness going on. Last year was just a very weird year for them, especially they hired a DC to be an OC, and that usually never works out. And it was a beyond mess for them. So I'm very interested to see how that goes out. how interesting the Patriots do this year. And I'm interested to see if Mac Jones stays or they move on. Go to Bailey's happy. Very interesting. But yeah, that's probably where we're in the NFL news this week. Yeah, very interesting, especially with the OBJ signing, because like I feel like even though it's only Odell Beckham, that's really a twofer, because that pretty much like gives you confidence Lamar's coming back. I'm very shocked he chose the Ravens. I thought he would choose Ravens. Excuse me. I thought he would choose like a warm climate team potentially. OBJ. I thought he'd choose a warm climate team to play for. I thought he'd choose maybe like. Apparently, he's supposed to go visit the Jets that day. He didn't go visit the Jets because they stopped him. Well, not because they stopped him. They just got a contract from the Ravens that basically gave him a lot of money, and that's what he wanted. But it's very interesting because now he's number one. I thought he wanted to go somewhere maybe where he's like a number two, number three again, like where he's Cooper Kupp, where he could absolutely eat. Because if you saw him with like Cooper, he was going to win a Super Bowl MVP. He was going to have 2 touchdowns, like 75, close to 100 yards at Super Bowl if he doesn't tear up his knee. Still, not only because like I had a ticket on it and I would have won like a decent amount of money. It's just, man, he was going off, and that was fun to watch. Like, and yes, Cooper Kupp ended up winning it, so it would have a receiver won it anyway. But at the time, like you're sitting there, it's like, man, we're gonna finally have somebody that's not a quarterback win this award again. It's just so, because then he obviously like the MVP, like when it's a Super Bowl, usually like I would say 9 times out of 10, it's always a quarterback, and you're just like, oh, and it's a quarterback again. So anytime you have a year where you see somebody like, oh man, he's playing like awesome, it's like so cool to see. It's just really tough. It was really tough to see him get hurt again. Apparently, he's playing hurt all season. Like, I don't know if it was all season, but at least towards the end of the season, for sure playing hurt on it. It's just, man, that sucks. Sucked to watch, and I'm just happy that he's back now. And I'm very curious to see how he does. I heard some other. I won't call them out, but I heard some people talk about how he was overpaid and everything, and it's just there's no overpaying for Odell. I mean, dude's a dog, and if yes, they maybe gave up $15 million to pay him, and they're sitting there, it's like, oh, you overpaid for him. It's like they paid $15 million for a receiver that's going to put the fear into some people. Like, there's some people, like, obviously they're NFL players and they're grown men, that they aren't going to be scared of somebody. But you say Odell Beckham, like that, a defense has a scheme for that. Like the Ravens now that they got him, people are going to go into every week. So we're going to just say they have Lamar, for example. Every week now, people are going to go into every single week like, all right, how do we stop Lamar, and how do we stop Odell Beckham Jr.? We aren't letting... And now, Odell Beckham Jr. might not play every game, and that's probably not going to anymore. He's not to that point in his career anymore due to the injuries and everything, but they don't need him for every game. They need him for weeks about 12 to 13 onto the Super Bowl. I mean, they can give him the first, 8 to 10 weeks of the season to get set up, get acclimated with Lamar. With how good the Ravens are, your Ravens are usually a 10-win team regardless when they have Lamar, so they can survive, maybe not Odell playing his best, and then when it's time for him to go, he can really go. Yeah, man, I am very excited to see what happens. But no, we'll probably end the show there today. Moving on for the week. Man, I'll probably, honestly, now that this whole Lamar situation happened, I'm not going to do the Lamar story, I don't think, anymore. I still think there's a small chance he'll go somewhere else, but them signing Odell Beckham, I don't want to make a whole thing where it's like, he might end up as the Colts, he might end up with the 49ers, and then he signs right back with them and just... So I think instead, Thursday, might talk about... I think I'm going to do my draft stories. I'm going to do who's going to go 1 and 2. I think I'm just going to talk about... Especially with the quarterback-wise, I'm going to talk about who's going to go 1, who's going to go 2 between Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. I'll read a little bit and just see kind of like what I'm feeling. Because obviously, like, I'm going to be honest with you, it's basically going to be like a guess. Because obviously, like, I can do research and do all this stuff, but I could say one thing and literally 2 weeks from now, a team can be like, you know what? Screw it, we want CJ Stroud now instead. But I'm going to, basically by Thursday, I'm going to look over some more stuff, see what I like, and then I'm just going to come out and basically give my top, I guess the quarterbacks are going to go 1 and 2. I might rank Will Levis and Anthony Richardson that 2 to go 3, 4, like maybe guess what team they go to. That'll probably be Thursday's episode. We'll do that. Probably go over just a little like baseball coming up for the weekend and everything. Just continue to talk about that. And NBA, I won't lie, NBA playoffs still started today. I didn't mention that at all. We got the Heat and Hawks playing versus the Lakers, Heat playing the Hawks and the Lakers playing the Timberwolves. I'm probably on Heat and Lakers just from where I know the Timberwolves have a lot going on. I didn't even talk about that situation. They got Rudy suspending a guy they traded 5 picks for and all this money because he shoulder punched somebody at the end of the season out of frustration. And nobody really came to defend him. They all came to, like, defend Kyle Anderson a little bit. Makes me wonder what's going on in that situation. That's a whole I might just spend a whole episode just talking about that. The whole Timberwolves situation, very just like their whole man. That was just a whole different, interesting situation. But yeah, I'll probably do that right there. I want to say within the next 2 weeks I might actually have a guest. I was having some issues with my PC. Like I said before, I think I got most of it figured out. I think I figured out what the issue was as well. So yeah, we're gonna see. I gotta do some tests, obviously, but hopefully we do. And if I do have a guest, it's gonna be on a Thursday episode. I already kind of have planned out what we're gonna talk about. Gonna be a lot of baseball breakdown. That's his area of expertise. So that I feel like it'd be. I feel like now that we're a little bit a decent ways in the season, I feel like hopefully by the time I have him on, we'll be about like a fifth or a sixth of the way through the season. So then we can get some good information. But yeah, hopefully within 2 weeks we'll have a guest on to talk about the MLB season, what's going on. This Thursday, probably just some more sports talk and what's going on in the world in general when it comes to the world of sports. Not much. Maybe like if there's a big NFL story, I'll touch on that too. But for the most part, it's probably just going to be. I'll touch a little bit on the NBA playoffs, what that's going to be looking like, and then the MLB, what's going on a little bit in the Diamond. Because, yeah, just a quick summary from the stuff I remember. O'Neal Cruz, which is a big player for the Pirates, probably their best player in a while. Broken leg, ankle, something, sliding into home. He's going to be gone for a while. Sucks for the Pirates because that hurts them a lot. Yeah, just like a lot of general stuff like that. Just how teams are trending. Probably talk about the Rays losing a game there, unless they go 13-0 until Thursday. That's going to be pretty insane. But yeah, just thank you everybody again for watching. Like I said, this upcoming Thursday will probably be just a draft episode where I just kind of talk about the NFL draft a little bit because, believe it or not, NFL draft is, I want to say, 2 weeks from Thursday. Yep, 2 weeks from Thursday is the NFL draft, man. Crazy. I'm usually not a big guy who cares about the draft this much, but this is one of the few times in a while since basically I want to say like 2011 when I had the one pick as the Colts, and by me I mean them. But last time they had the one pick and got Andrew Luck, that was probably the last time I really cared about the draft. So this is gonna be very interesting because there's basically 2 weeks left, and this is potentially gonna be my fanhood for the next few years. Man, I don't know if I'm ready. Honestly, I'm very nervous because I just don't want to get another bad quarterback. I'm so tired of bad quarterbacks and watching my team have bad offense. Just to go from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck to what we're doing now, just my goodness, bro. I could go on a podcast for hours just talking about all the dumb decisions Colts made. But, they have a chance to fix it all with this draft, get another guy back. I mean, can't complain too much, though. I had 2 really great quarterbacks in my time. Many people, there's Jets fans who still haven't got experience one yet. So I guess I got to be grateful for it. But, man, does it suck. But hopefully, yeah, we get somebody good. Hopefully the Colts do something. But, like I said, 2 weeks away, so I'll talk about it a little bit more on Thursday. But thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see everybody on the next episode of the JCPod on Thursday.